it's Cleaner. Today we're going to be taking a look at the star lamp. Now the star lamp is a little bit different to the other lanterns that I've brought to you because the star lamp is actually a hanging lamp. Now it's one of my larger projects. You know, I like to bring you a large project as often as I can. This is another one of those. It's actually about 15 inches, but it's pretty much as big around as it is tall, so it's a big piece. Now the idea is that we're trying to go for that wrought iron and textured glass look. So I've made mine with acetate, but you can also use vellum, sparkle screens, or alternatively use die cuts. In your windows, if you were to cut your doily dies or use your composite strip, your panel strips, and layer them up in your windows, the light would shine through those patterns. So you can get a lot of different looks here, and you can actually get some different shapes as well. So we'll go into that in a minute. So on this one, what we're doing is quite a straightforward project actually, because we're forming one of these cones, points, and then we're repeating it and joining them all together. So this is what your piece looks like. Now inside you've got two triangles in each of these little windows. So what you'll do, and it says here in your die cut list, to make your points you use the outside die and then you tape in your 5 smaller triangles, and that's what forms your windows. So what you do is you'll actually remove the larger triangle out of each of these 5 windows, and that is what you cut your window material from. And it's all here in your die cut list. So here where it says your acetate, your vellum or sparkle screens, it says this is the large triangle. Here with the windows, it's your smaller triangle dies. So you cut that 12 times, and you cut your larger triangles 12 times, and then that gives you 60 windows. So don't go thinking you have to run anything through 60 times. You actually get 5 of those. So that piece and these pieces go through 12 times each. What I have done is, because I'm saying I'm trying to get that kind of textured glass look, and you'll see that on the front picture of your die set, is I've used embossing folders from my window material. What I found though was, even on the smallest embossing folder I've got, because I've got them literally from C6 all the way up to A4, but even on your C6 size, which is the smallest you can get, it's about 4 to 6 inch, 4 by 6 inches. You can actually get 3 windows in every one of those. So it does not take long to actually emboss all of your windows, and it gives a wonderful finish. I will show you the an alternative shape I made in a minute, and I actually embossed vellum for that, and it also looks fab. Okay, then you've got your hanging pieces. So I've put a nice big hole in your hanging pieces, so you can use anything from thread and cord up to ribbon, anything you'd like to actually hang your lamp. Okay, so first of all, shall I show you actually, instead of just referring to it, another shape you can make. Now this, I actually die cut vellum with this one, and that is my heavyweight vellum, so it makes it really lovely and sturdy. But what I've done to create this, because you'll see it's kind of flat front and back with a nested die, what I did, because the point section has actually got 5 windows, so what I did was you get the tab on one end and the other end doesn't have a tab, so I cut one of those off to make a 4-pointed point, a 4-sided point. So with my 4-sided points, I attached 6 together in a row, then I brought them together in a circle, and then I just put my nested dies in the gap either side. So that's as easy as that is. Now you will need to remember, because this took me a long time to remember, I was figuring out why my little kind of hanging piece didn't fit. You need to take one of the panels off there as well. So yeah, so they're a little bit closer here on the back, but yeah, it works just as well. And then I've put my lights in, which isn't showing up very well here with all of my lights on. I've got lots of lights on in here. But yeah, so that works really well. Now, I think this would come into its own if you're hanging it in a window, if you want it to be closer to, you know, if you've got a shallower place to hang your lamp, or if you want it in a window or against a wall or something. I think that would be great. The other one is fantastic because it fills up such a big space. You would literally hang it right in the middle of a room if you could. But yeah, so that one is another shape. Now, the only thing you need to consider when you're making different shapes like this is what will match with the bottom edge of your triangle. So I think if you're going to use a square, the square I think is ever so slightly larger, like minusculely larger than the bottom edge of the triangle, so that'll work fine. And the octagon is ever so slightly smaller, like literally a fraction smaller, so I think that would work as well. So you could do an 8-sided, you know, an 8-pointed one as well if you like, but this matches perfectly with my hexagon dies. So this is a project I was really excited to try out, just so I could show you on the video instead of just talking about it. It's nice to see things, isn't it, rather than me just saying, oh, you can do this, if I can actually show you where I've done it. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to do my little hanger, and then I can set that to one side and get working on the rest of the project. So I'm going to take some red liner tape to pop this together, because I've cut this out of some satin mirror card. Now, I have actually put my whole lamp together. I normally wouldn't recommend it, but this is one of those where I do. I recommend you put your whole lamp together with red liner tape. I would also recommend that when you put your kind of cones together, that you also use glue as well. That's what I'll be showing you in a minute, and that's what I'll be doing. Now, because we can't put our windows in at the end of the project, we've got to put our windows in as we go. So it means we need to adhere behind the acetate. Right, so I've just put my red liner tape on the two tabs on this piece. Fold along all of your score lines. Oh, actually, before I fold it, this would be a good time to add some tape on the inside. Because once I fold it up, I will be popping my thread inside. So I'm just going to put some tape in there. Make it easier for myself. Yeah, so as I was saying, when on this project, normally I say use your wet glue and put your windows in afterwards. But on this one, I'm not really able to do that because of the design of it. So we're going to have to use red liner tape, but that's okay. We can just put a couple of dots of wet glue as we go. And then we've got the quick grab of the red liner tape. Because if you're trying to adhere to acetate, mirror card, all of these kind of plasticky surfaces, they're not porous, so glue takes a really, really long time to take hold, and it's hard to kind of hold it for the length of time you would need to and stop it sliding. And also the glue can smear a long way too. So So if you add just a couple of dots of glue, the red liner tape will hold it for you from the outset, and then gradually over time those few dots of wet glue will give you like a long lasting hold. Red liner tape is absolutely brilliant. The only problem that I ever get really is if I'm storing pieces somewhere that's warm, like if I'm storing them here and it gets hot in the summer, then when I go to unpack some of my pieces, I find that sometimes in the heat, whatever my red liner tapes adhered to, it will like slide a little bit. So that's all. Just adding that little bit of glue will help with that. Right, so I'm taking my red liner tape off on the inside so I can put my cord in. So I've got a little bit because I'm doing a blue lamp here today. So I thought I'd use some silver cord. So I'm going to pop it in and then just tuck it up and press it into that tape. And the same with the other piece. Now you can cover that over with another bit of tape, but I will I'll add some tape to the top of my lamp when I put that on, and then that cord will be sandwiched in between. So if I show you there, it's just stuck on the inside, just on the tape, and then it's kind of ready to go. Okay, so this is what your 12 points look like. And they've got lots of score lines on them, but what I would recommend when you do your folding is to have some kind of firm straight edge. I've actually got a ruler here. Well, it's a broken ruler, but it makes it nice and handy. Now, you've got the outside and inside to think about. So your tabs on the bottom edge, they're actually valley folds, so they'll be folding towards you. So they are nice and easy to fold. Now the reason why I'm using an edge is because if you're using stiff cardstock, this one is about 270. But anything from about 250 upwards sometimes can get a bit hard on your hands. So if you've got a straight edge to push against, it can really help. Now I very often will do this just with like a credit card, you know, a store card, something like that. Whatever I've got to hand, really. So I just hold the edge against that line and then just push up, and then it's a lot easier. Now for this edge here, now it can be more difficult to see where the line is when you're pulling away the other side. So for this long tab, what I sometimes do is bring it towards me like a valley fold, but then because I've broken the fibres, I then push it away afterwards like a mountain fold. There. And that's very easy. Now for the lines, the other 4 lines here in between, what I do is I hold my ruler like this and I bend over the ruler. Now, if you're absolutely fine, you know, you might be thinking, why are you trying to teach me to suck eggs? But I struggle sometimes. So I thought, well, in case you do, if I can give you, you know, any little tips of things that I do, I'll happily do that if it makes life a little bit easier. So there, I just go along and I'm kind of just pushing against that hard edge then. So just have it past the line here. There we go. Okay. So all of the folds around here are mountain folds. That means we fold away. And then the 3 bottom tabs, they're valley folds, which means we fold towards ourselves. Right. Now, we need to put red liner tape on all of these tabs and around the outside of where the window goes. So if you're using acetate or vellum, then I would recommend using red liner tape. By all means, if you'd like to give it a go with some glue and take some time over it, that's fine. But this is what I recommend. The other thing with vellum is, with glue, it can go a bit wrinkly sometimes. To be honest, I've not tried my vellum with glue, and my vellum is extremely thick. I don't know if you've tried it, but it's about 350 GSM. But it embosses a treat. This is the first time I think I've embossed it as well, and you kind of get that white line on it, like they call it white work, don't they, in parchment craft. Okay. So on the inside of your pieces, you'll be adding the red liner tape for your acetate. Now I embossed this with like a circle design. I thought it would be a nice play off against the straight edges of the star lamp. But I've chosen, like on the hexagon lamp I did there, I chose chevron. On another one I did quatrefoil. So, I mean, it's a good way to break out your embossing folders and, you know, use what you've got. Okay, so I don't add any glue when I put my windows in, although you can, but I will put glue where on these sections when I'm joining them together. Okay, so you would go along and do that for all 5 windows, and then you would put your red liner tape on all of your tabs, and then they look like this. Now on this one I haven't put a window in here, so I basically put in 59 of my 60 windows. And you know, I know it seems a lot, 60, but you do get 5 window dies, so they go through 12 times, just like you do with these outside pieces. But I actually put 59 in, and I leave this one empty because this will be, I'm designating this as my top. So this will have a window. I can get in there to try and glue down, or, you know, press into place my last tabs right at the end. So, but what I can do, and this was actually an idea that I got from Andrea from the Inspiration Team, our newest Inspiration Team member, because Andrea made a solid box and she added an extra panel with magnets. So what I can do at the end, because this is acetate, I don't think you notice when that window's missing, but if it was vellum you would. if it was sparkle screens, I think you would notice. But what you can do, even when it is acetate, is take the panel with the tab on the end, and then you can adhere it here, and then as Andrea did in hers, you could, I would cut off that bottom tab or just glue it under to add a bit more strength. So what you would do is you would adhere it here, and then you would pop a magnet here for it to hold, or a repositionable glue dot, or a bit of Velcro. So you've got lots of options there. So that's one way to close that up. I think that's a great idea of Andrea's. But I'm going to leave mine open for now. I may come back and do that at the end. Okay, so when you've got all of your red liner tape on, you've got your windows in, then you close up your cone. Like I say, all the rest will have the 5 windows in. This is the only one that doesn't. So I'm actually going to set this aside because this is going to be the last one that I'll put in place. And that's all I do. I just put some dots of glue along my red liner tape. So it speeds up the project making because it grabs. But that bit of glue may help with the longevity of my project. And there we are. And here are all of my others. So that is my 12 cones. Now this one with the panel that's missing, I'm going to set that aside. That's going to be my last one. Okay, so let's start with this one. Now this is going to be my bottom cone. Now I was thinking if you wanted this to be a freestanding lantern and not a hanging lantern, you could actually miss this one out, draw around it to get your pentagon shape, and do a flat bottom on your lantern. So I think you know, there are different shapes and different ways to use this kit, definitely. Okay, so the way that the kit is meant to be, I'm going to pick this one as my bottom, and then that means I've got 5 sides here on my 5 like edges here on my point, my upside down point. So then what I'll do is in a ring I will join in 5 more points. So I'm going to join them round in a ring, and then add another ring, so 2 whole rings, and then I just pop my top one in. So if you think of it like that, because you might look at the picture and think, where do I start? I wouldn't blame you for thinking that, but honestly, it's quite a straightforward make. Now, you haven't got tabs on every point because you don't need them, because when you're joining 2 pieces together, you only need 1 tab to glue them together. And you might be thinking, well, I don't know which one. It really doesn't matter because you've got more than you need. You will have to cut a couple off along the way. So just join it in wherever works on that particular joint. And then any spare ones, we'll just get rid of those as we go. Okay, so we'll take the red liner tape off. I'll add my little bit of glue. And then I will join these 2 together. So I'll bring this one right up into like the corner, I suppose you could call it. and then I can pinch these two together. Now this is where the red liner tape comes in, because look, it's attached straight away, and that glue will take hold over time. I haven't got to sit here and hold it or use pegs or anything like that. There, they're joined. Isn't that great? That's the first one. So I will keep adding 4 as I go round. Now when you add the next one, you'll be joining it here and here. So here I haven't got a tab, so I will pick one that's got a tab there, but that's got a tab, so I don't need a tab there. So look, that tab will join there and that tab will join there, so that's a good fit. So I will pop that one in next. Okay, so I've added 4 pieces on now, so this is my bottom piece, and I've added 4 in a ring, but here I've got 2 tabs next to each other, so I've already got too many tabs, because I need a tab on that side, so that's here where my finger is, and then I don't need one there, and I don't need one here, so I'm going to need to cut this tab off. But that's okay, because that is the way it's meant to be. Okay, I've cut that off, so that tab connects there, and then these 2, it'll go under those 2. It'll go over that one, under these 2. Okay, I'll put that in place. Okay, so there we are. Here's our middle one still, and we've got a ring of points around it. If I turn it sideways, you'll see that's our bottom one, and we've just got the ring around. So what we need to do now is do the next ring. Now when they go in, they go here, they go in between. So if I show you, they'll go, oh sorry, went off camera there a little bit. So they'll go in that V there, so they'll go there. So it's kind of every other one in between. Okay, so we'll go and we'll put this next ring in. It's getting big, isn't it? I'm having trouble fitting it underneath the camera. Okay, I've got the next ring on, so that's my bottom one there. That's my first row. That's my second row. Gosh, it's getting quite big. Okay, so I've just got my top one to go on now. Now, all in all, I had to remove 6 tabs. So as I only had to remove 1, I think, off the first row, but off this second row I had to remove another 3, and then on the very top here I had to cut 1 off the top edge and 1 off my final piece, so that's 6 in all. So if you're cutting some off as you go, don't worry, that's supposed to happen. When I put this in, I'm gonna attach it from this back side, and where I've got my window missing here, this is going to be the last tab to go in, because while I'm putting them in I can flip it up and I can get my hand in there. When I do these last couple of edges here, that's when it's going to be, you know, I'm going to need that little window. So that's all really that I can let you know. So I'm going to start attaching to the back edges there. There's my window facing me, and then I'll carry on and get this popped in. If you want your lights to go in with like glue dots, because you can actually get your hand in here once, you know, with just the one point missing, you can get your hand fully in. So if you want to be putting your lights, if you want to attach them to the sides, put glue dots or red liner tape or whatever you want to do to attach them to specific places, now's the time to do it. Like if you want to string them from side to side, or if you want to go follow some lines on the edges, whatever you want to do with your lights, now's the time before you pop that in. If you do that, put your battery pack up through the hole, because then you can change your batteries. no problems, and then you won't need to get in there again. If you want to put your lights in a particular way or particular spot, now's the time to do it. So even with this last one, you can still kind of flip it over and do your pinching and that. But as you kind of go round, it'll get a little bit. You'll be thankful for the window. So I've only got 3 edges to go, and I'm still managing to put it together comfortably, because now I can put my hand in, my fingers in that window. Now I can just get to the back of there. Lovely. Two to go. This is one of the projects, a bit like the, if you've done my crystal tree project, it's a bit like that, where it takes a little bit of time with your prep, but it goes together really quickly, the actual assembly stage. See, having that little window is absolutely brilliant. And there we go. That's the last one. But what you could do, if you did find that you couldn't get back here very well, you could just take your bone folder, go in that window and press against your tabs that way. Okay, so that's it put together. So every point is the same apart from this one where the opening is. So I'm going to put my top on there. Remember, we prepared this earlier. So I've just wrapped some red liner tape around the top of my top piece. Okay, so that's in place, so that's hanging now. Right, so with my lights, I like to put some 3D, not 3D, you can, if you've got a glue dot, just pop a glue dot on the back, or, and this will work for any kind of lights you have, just put a little bit of red liner tape on the back of your battery box, and then you can decide whereabouts you want it to be. Now you can disguise it by just wrapping a little bit of the same coloured cardstock around it. But see, I've just put my red liner tape just on the back here. You see it shining there. So I will just think I'll just pop it here. Just undo my lights. Just threading them inside, let them go wherever they fall. Some of the small string lights have 10 lights on, but these have 20. Actually, that's filling it up quite well. If I leave that there, I'll turn the lights off. There. So that actually looks great. And that's going to look fab hung up. Oh, let's bring in the other one. If I bring in the... And here's the hexagon lamp as well. That'd be great. You see the size difference there. So there, what a fabulous project. And it's, as you've seen, it's straightforward. It's just the same steps done a few times, and you come up with the most dramatic project. If you're a lover of my large projects, you're going to absolutely love it. If you love my light up projects as well, my lanterns, then this is just the, it's such the next step, isn't it, for what we've done so far. But yeah, you're going to love what the inspiration team are coming up with. They're coming up with some fab ideas already, and I've not even seen many of them, so I just know they're going to be great. So keep an eye out for those. And if you make a star lamp, do share it with us. Pop it in the group. We'd absolutely love to see it. What colour will you do? Will you do acetate? Will you do embossing? Will you do vellum? Will you do sparkle screens? What will you do? Will you do die cuts? Will you put, you know, kind of, you know, piercing designs in here? Will you use your composites or doilies or something like that in there to make, you know, kind of like pin dot holes for your lights to, you know, pop out from? I'd love to see what you come up with and your ideas. But what a fabulous project. Hope you love it as much as we do. And I'll see you for another one.